Come to Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dine in, carry out, and catering available. Located in Rock Falls and Sterling, Illinois, as well as Clinton, Iowa. Come try our original Chicken George today.
Need a roof, vinyl windows, or doors? Call R.E. Duchesne Construction. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and servicing Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties, call R.E. Duchesne. 815-722-2821. Financing available. Find out more online at reduchene.com.
Are going to come right down to the wire. Yeah, he really likes this field. Team of the Week MVP.
I like Reich.
I like Reich.
Since 2016, it's been my privilege to represent the people of the 63rd District. I want to continue representing you as an independent voice in Springfield.
I like Reich. We like Reich.
We're here to help you with your problems that result from an automobile accident or an injury on the job or the loss of a loved one. There's no reason you should go through this alone and guess that you're doing things right.
We deal with tragedies that affect families and individuals every day.
Come here and protect your interests. We've been doing this collectively for over 100 years. Let's put that experience to work for you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Live with Friday Night Drive, a special edition here on Saturday night, the second round of the IHSA football playoffs. Steve Soucie, Kyle Nabors here with you live at Barrington High School, where we're an hour away from Naperville Central taking on Barrington and the Class 8A playoffs. It's a gorgeous night.
Yeah, absolutely. One of those situations where you looked at the weather today and you figured that it was going to be an opportunity for teams to put their best foot forward, and that's what you always like to see in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's already been an exciting day of football. We only had 8 games on Friday night in the second round of the playoffs. Kind of unheard of. Drove you a bit insane, but you got to see a game last night. We've had a full day of action tonight. A lot of games happening so far this evening still, including this one, obviously. What do you think so far of what we've seen across the state?
You know, a lot of games today were coming down to the wire, and that's kind of what we expected from round 2. We were going to have some better matchups, some games with some more equal-footed teams playing one another today. And there were some really interesting results, too, some games that turned out to be a lot closer than we really expected that they were going to be.
So we're going to be here live with you for the next hour leading up to kickoff. Steve, Soucie, and I, we're going to talk to you about everything that's taken place in the second round. We got Jake Bartelson here already waiting for the teams to come out, and the coaches will be talking to them before the game. A lot of people they're expecting already 1,000 tickets sold, expecting over 2,000 for this game. Souce, let's start with this matchup between Barrington and Naperville Central. You saw Barrington middle of the season. You came up here. They were kind of slow in the middle of the season after we felt really good about them those first 3 weeks. They caught fire again down the stretch. This is a tough matchup against Naperville Central.
Yeah, this was an interesting Barrington team for me to watch kind of their evolution over the second half of the season. You look at a team that, like you said, I was here for them earlier in the year. They played New Trier in a game. New Trier ended up finishing the season with a record, you know, not what you're used to seeing from New Trier. Didn't really know what to expect from them. Barrington really had to scrape that game out. That came down to the last minute. But right after that game, almost like they were questioning why I was questioning them, they went on a tear. It ran through Palatine in a big regular season matchup and has really been on fire since then. So this is obviously the way, ideally, it's the way that you would want that football to go.
So we're going to go ahead and just jump into it. Jake Bartelson already has Barrington coach Joe Sanchez. So, Jake, take it away, man.
You guys got me okay?
Let's see. Got you.
All right. Everybody, we're here live with Barrington High School Coach Sanchez, obviously preparing for a tough Naperville Central team. Coach, I want to talk to you about Most people understand what that means, but what do you think that encapsulates just about your program?
Yeah, for us, it's all about just,
the fun with the live show. Actually, I think, Jake, if you can hear me, check your mic setting and switch it over to the Bluetooth one there. We weren't able to pick you up there. See if we can get that figured out here.
He's still talking to him. He got you.
Well, this is the fun of trying something new for the first time. We'll see if we can get Jake back with us here. But while we're waiting for that.
You guys got me now? How about now?
Jake, we can't hear you, man. I'm not sure what happened to your mic.
Got me now?
It's as if you're talking through, several layers of something.
All right, well, we'll figure it out.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead, though, and start talking about this first round or this second round action here. We are live here at Barrington, but I have my phone here with me. I can see the stuff going, or the comments coming in. And Michael Blumey, wow, Roxana 48, St. Joseph Ogden 47. St. Joseph Ogden went for a 2-point play with 7 seconds left, and it failed.
Yeah, that's one of a couple of games that I've been catching on to today that has had that happen, where it has been a 2-point conversion type of situation to go for the win at the end of the game. That's new news to me, actually, that you're providing me with that information on Roxana St. Joe Ogden. The last score that I had seen before coming into Barrington, it looked like it was a shootout at halftime, and St. Joe Ogden held a 1-point lead, and I believe at 36-35. So looks like it slowed down from a point standpoint, but not an excitement standpoint coming down to the wire. Great season so far from Roxana. We were talking about it a little bit earlier this week. Kind of came out of nowhere. This was a team that if you'd have told me at the beginning of the season that they'd be 11-0 and heading into the quarterfinals, I probably would have looked at you a little funny. But a great year for the Shells thus far.
So let's look at 1A. Let's start there. You had Anawan Weatherfield with a 13-6 win over Morrison. Hope Academy 37-29 over Aurora Christian. Those are really the two that stood out on the north side of that bracket to me. What were you thinking watching these games unfold today?
When I saw that Hope Academy and Aurora Christian basically came down to the last play with Aurora Christian having an opportunity to potentially tie the game deep in Hope Academy territory, it didn't surprise me at all. We talked about it earlier in the week. Despite the seedings, Aurora Christian beat Hope Academy for Hope Academy's only loss in the first part of the season. So a game where it looked like either team could win, and I'm not surprised at all. It came down to the wire. Congratulations to Hope Academy, first quarterfinal appearance in school history with that win.
Yes, absolutely. Congrats to Hope Academy. Jake, I think you're here now. Let's see if we can throw you back on one more time and check your audio here.
You guys got me now?
A little bit, but not doing great.
Technology, 21st century.
Hey, in your Jake, in your settings, there are several different options you can do. I want you to try, as I try and do this here, let me get this figured out quickly. Everyone hang on just 1 second under audio. Make sure it's under Bluetooth headset. That's what it needs to be under. All right. All right, Zeus, I'm going to try and reset us here.
Okay.
All right, moving on to Class 2A. We had Seneca and Wilmington. Seneca, 47-14 win over Rock Ridge. Wilmington, a 42-14 win over Tri-Valley. That sets up a rematch between Seneca and Tri-Valley. I'm sorry, Seneca and Wilmington.
Yes.
Kind of figured this was coming, though.
Yeah, you did. I mean, even early today, Tri-Valley scored those first 2 touchdowns, took a 14-7 lead over Wilmington. A little bit of a postseason history between those two schools, but you just kind of got the feeling that Wilmington would do what Wilmington does usually in these postseason games. Wore down that Tri-Valley team. Essentially, I believe, scored 35 consecutive unanswered points to run away from Tri-Valley in that game. Seneca did a much better job today kind of controlling Rockridge than I thought they would. They ran away early and hid. They didn't really give Rockridge a chance to say, hey, maybe we can pick off the top seed in the 2A bracket. That game was never really in question for so much, but kind of what I expected when we got the brackets, that we would see this quarterfinal matchup. Seneca Wilmington. They've already designated the quarterfinal time. That's going to be Saturday at 2:00 next week. That will be definitely a game to circle in the quarterfinal round.
We knew the 2A draw was going to be good all the way through. On the other side of that, you're looking at Moreau Forsyth and Bloomington Central Catholic in that other quarterfinal game. That's looking like a good matchup too. After Bloomington Central Catholic a 27-12 win over Farmington, Moreau Forsyth with no trouble against Moments today.
Well, collectively, it's a bracket that's now 43-1. And that one loss came to another team in that bracket. So it speaks to the depth of that. I expect that Moreau Forsyth Central Catholic game to be fast.
How about Nashville, man?
Yep, got it done again. Early took control of it. It is playoff season for Nashville, and you know what that means. At least a quarterfinal appearance in their future, and they're already there. So Nashville just knows how to get it done, and once again, looking like a potential factor next week.
He is Steve Soucie. I am Kyle Nabors. We are live here at Barrington High School for a special edition of Live with Friday Night Drive on location. Barrington getting ready to host Naperville Central in the Class 8A second round at 7 p.m. We are taking you up to kick off for that one, recapping everything that has happened so far in this second round. Jake Bartelson is out here with us, trying to get some audio issues fixed up with him. Soucie, we've gone through those first two rounds, so what are you seeing so far in that third round draw, or that third 3A bracket that has come out?
You know, when you look at the bracket, it's just one of those things that you have to kind of ferret out what has happened and what might happen. So that becomes really tricky when you're looking at what's going on with, figuring out the 3A bracket.
I'm trying to pull this up here as I get through. You got a chance to see Byron today against Piatone. Byron has 80 rushing touchdowns in 10 games. Absolutely insane the way the Tigers are playing. You got a chance to see them up close? For real?
Now they've got 88 touchdowns in 11 games because they scored 8 more rushing touchdowns today, which got my mind working today. I was trying to think to myself, has any Illinois team ever scored 100 rushing touchdowns in a season? I don't know the answer to that, but I'm thinking that it's probably highly unlikely. And I would think Byron's probably closing in on that mark. They have an opportunity to potentially play 3 more games and maybe reach that century mark, which to me is an incredible statistic that they could possibly achieve.
I have not had a chance to see a final score between Tolono Unity and DeCoin. I do know that Tolono Unity won that game. That is a 9 taking down a 1 in the Southern bracket of Class 3A. Tolono Unity is no stranger to be in the quarterfinals. Did you expect this to be a Tolono Unity win, though?
I did pick Tolono to win the game. There were some things about DeCoin's season that were a little concerning to me, playing a playoff battle-tested team like Tolono Unity. It was a close game. It was back and forth, but Tolono finished it off in the end.
Let's see here. Going back to last night, we move over to Class 4A. We had a really low-scoring battle between Wheaton Academy and St. Viator. 12-3 Wheaton Academy, kind of grinding down the clock in that one, using some solid defense. This Wheaton Academy team in the quarterfinals for the first time in school history.
Yeah, that was a really solid win for Wheaton Academy, and I've had some conversations with Coach Jim Johannick over the course of the postseason and heading into the postseason, and I had picked against them a couple of times. I picked against them again in round 2. I'm going to contact him and let him ask him what he wants me to do in round 3, because I think me picking against them has given the Warriors a little bit more fuel here. So a nice win for them over a St. Viator team that, despite that lower seed, I felt like was a potentially really dangerous team to have to deal with.
Elsewhere, you got St. Lawrence 31-21 over Dixon, and that gets into where St. Lawrence will win over Dixon 6-3. That's not a game. I think most of us picked St. Lawrence to win this game. What you mentioned before we jumped on air today, that the Chicago Catholic League East Suburban Catholic Conference so far has lost just 1 game today. or this weekend.
Yeah, and most of the games that have gone final, there are a couple of them that are still out there that have not been tested. St. Francis plays tonight, but they are really just doing what they did in the first round, and now they're finally starting to set up matchups where they're playing one another again. Today, it was them against everybody else, and they took care of everybody else.
Jake, if your audio is, if you want to give it another try, shoot me a message in the private Slack or the private channel there, and let me know that you're ready to go. We'll throw you back up, and we can talk to you about. I'm going to get your thoughts on Batavia anyway, and we wait for Barrington and Naperville Central to come out onto the field here. Souce down in the southern bracket there. The only final I had seen before we got over here was Rochester over Folsom. Did you see anything else from that south bracket?
The south bracket, I saw that Bree Central was up 2 touchdowns. Murfreesboro won by 1 point. They won 14-13. I see nothing on the Peoria Notre Dame Harrisburg games.
All right, let's go to Class 5A where you had one of the most intriguing games of the game. Morgan Park and Sycamore. Morgan Park ends up winning that game 27-21. I don't know if you've seen what happened in that game. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Sycamore was going into the end zone with about 2 minutes left in that game. He had a fumble at the goal line. Morgan Park recovers it. Is able to run out the clock, wins that game. Huge win for Morgan Park, a heartbreaker for Sycamore.
Yeah, that game all along, it looked like Sycamore was maybe not in control, but it seemed like they had it where they wanted it to be. They had a touchdown advantage, or maybe they were up 9 points or whatever. But Morgan Park came out in the second half, ended up tying the game up and getting themselves in that position to win that football game. Just kind of tracking it all along, it looked like it was one of those games where one big play, obviously that big play happened, and Morgan Park was able to close it out. The only public league school remaining, Dyad is also playing tonight, but Morgan Park coming into the state playoffs was the only team that I thought had a legitimate chance to advance at least to this stage of the state tournament, and now they've done it.
I don't think a lot of people outside of Chicago know about Morgan Park. This is a team that you've been interested in all season long. Before the season, you were talking up this team. So you're certainly not surprised to see them in the state quarterfinals. But tell the rest of the state, what should they know about Morgan Park?
This is a program that kind of defies what you're used to from CPL. Yes, they are extremely athletic and fast, but they're also capable of playing a disciplined type of football, especially on defense, which tries, when you put that combination of athleticism and discipline together, you've got a really good football team. And there were a lot of people, that maybe didn't know that much about them, that looked at, if they're a public league school, they probably won't be able to do anything. When you have a weapon like Tyshawn Griffin on your roster, you can do some stuff. And you can especially do it in a 5A bracket. We're not talking about we're up in 7 or 8A, where a smaller public league roster might not have the maneuverability that you want them to have. But at 5A, you can get it done with a couple of exceptional athletes in Morgan Park certainly has that.
ESD Souce, I am Kyle Nabors here live with you from Barrington High School. We are about a little less than 45 minutes between kickoff between Naperville Central and host Barrington in a Class 8A second round game. Souce and I are here breaking down everything that is happening in the second round. Right now we are talking about the Class 5A playoffs. If you are joining us live on YouTube or on Facebook, you can throw a question or a comment into the chat. I got my phone right here checking that. We'd love to know what you guys want us to talk about. I see something here from Michael of 08 saying Harrisburg 21, Peoria Notre Dame 14 starting the third quarter. Souce, what do you think of that game?
That's interesting. That was the game that I wasn't real sure what to make of. Two schools from kind of different situations. Harrisburg from Southern Illinois, a fast, athletic team, but size-wise, I didn't know if they would be able to match up with Peoria Notre Dame. A little bit more bigger physical program, and they were a team that had been playing 6A, 7A caliber programs all year long with a mixed bag of success. But when you do that all year long, it tends to pay benefits right now when you drop down to the 4A playoffs. But so far, Harrisburg holding their own, and that's interesting to see.
All right, we got Morgan Park that we talked about in Class 5A. They await the winner of St. Francis and Sterling. That is a 5 p.m. start here. Not sure what's happening in that game. Haven't had a chance, obviously, to really catch up on Twitter. Nazareth, we talked about them winning that game against Prairie Ridge last week. just kind of give you context for how good that Prairie Ridge Naz game was in the first round. Second round, Naz 42-0 over Glenbard South.
And that game was scoreless after the first quarter. So Nazareth really flipped the switch in that one. I was interested to see how Nazareth would deal with Cam Williams from Glenbard South. Obviously, they did a pretty good job throwing that shutout. So the 16 seed, the 5-loss team heading into the playoffs, they move on to the quarterfinals. And to be honest with you, I'm not that surprised. I mean, I felt like last week was probably going to be the biggest test for them coming out. They clear that hurdle. They clear the hurdle today. Obviously, potential. Let's not look ahead too far, but potentially, they could face Wheaton St. Francis, or and they're going to face a good Carmel team next week. So, it's basically now the sled gets real hard, but it's not surprising to see that.
Yeah, Carmel, a 57 winner over Antioch today. Really jumped out on top in that game early and took control, too. On the other side of that bracket, though, you got big wins for Joliet Catholic, Providence over Hillcrest 42-12. I have not seen that final for more Sacred Heart and Griffin. That game was going back and forth.
That was a doozy, and it ended up with Sacred Heart Griffin tried to tie the game with a 52-yard field goal attempt that was no good. It was a 39-36 win for Morris in that one, in a game that, to be frank, was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. So, not that I thought they were going to run Sacred Heart Griffin off the field, but it seemed like Morris was making some mistakes today, and that's uncharacteristic of them moving forward. But it sets up a doozy of a game next week.
I'm not going to lie, I thought Morris was going to roll in that game, too. That makes me I still think Morris is a favorite next week against Joliet Catholic, but that makes me think that Joliet Catholic has a much more of a puncher's chance than I thought. I really thought this was Morris' bracket to win.
Yeah, and I think you can still kind of say that, but I think you're right. I think this was something that showed that it'll be interesting. Morris gets to come home, and that was a long road trip for him. They get to come home for that game, and it will set up, football theater is what I like to call it. It was a long time ago, but I went to a Morris Joliet Catholic game way back in the day at Morris. I'm not so sure I would estimate the crowd at 8,000 to 10,000 people. I wasn't working that night, but I claimed that I was, so I could get sideline access. And now I was hanging out with colleague Rob Osterley on the sidelines, and we were just kind of looking around going, I hope this doesn't go haywire at the end, because we might get crushed by the massive humanity that was there. So definitely an intriguing matchup with a lot of history in it with Morris and Joliet Catholic.
All right, everyone, stick with us. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We got a lot more to break down for the second round of the playoffs live from Barrington High School.
Come to Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dine in, carry out, and catering available. Located in Rock Falls and Sterling, Illinois, as well as Clinton, Iowa. Come try our original Chicken George today.
Need a roof, vinyl windows, or doors? Call R.E. Duchesne Construction. With an A+ rating for the Better Business Bureau and servicing Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties, call R.E. Duchesne. 815-722-2821. Financing available. Find out more online at reduchene.com.
Are going to come right down to the wire.
We're all fighting. Okay. Can I see
Team of the Week MVP?
What are your other options?
I like right.
I like right.
Since 2016, it's been my privilege to represent the people of the 63rd District. I want to continue representing
let's
you
give it
as
another
an
try,
independent voice in Springfield.
I like Reich. We like Reich.
We're here to help you with your problems that result from an automobile accident or an injury on the job or the loss of a loved one. There's no reason you should go through this alone and guess that you're doing things right.
We deal with tragedies that affect families and individuals every day.
Come here and protect your interests. We've been doing this collectively for over 100 years. Let's put that experience to work for you.
All right, we are live back here from Barrington High School. Steve Soucie and Kyle Nabors here, getting you ready for kickoff between Barrington and Naperville Central in a Class AA second round playoff game. We are recapping everything that is taking place over the last 24 hours now. It's so odd. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning. There was so much football today. On Saturday, it's still surprising to see so many teams abandon that Friday night.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, don't get me on a rant again here, but obviously it was a situation where, you know, there was a lot of travel games involved in round two, and sometimes that hasn't affected it. But there are other situations where I just didn't really understand why we were heading to Saturday afternoon so quickly. So definitely a weird situation trying to sift through all those games going on today. I was trying to kind of soft cover the Byron game and just was astonished with how many games were going on all at the same time today at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, all those starts were going on and trying to zip through those. So I know people on Twitter were getting mad at me because I was providing updates on scores, but they were all wondering whether or not they were finals. I had to go through my rules of explaining what I do on Twitter on a big, busy game day like that, which was, if it doesn't say final, it's not final. So that was a lot of people I know were just figuring that what I was doing was a final score reality. And I was just trying to keep people updated on what's going on. Most people got it, but some people were mad about it.
As I said, I am Kyle Nabors. We got Jake Bartelson with us here. Jake back on here. We got more.
Sorry guys, there's so much reverb on my head. I hear you
and I'm sorry, Jake. I'm not sure when to be able to get it to work.
That's okay. Have a great show, guys.
All right, we're having some audio issue with Jake's mic here, unfortunately. We're working at we set up all this afternoon, of course, once you get going live. I wanted to ask him, though, Geneva, a 42-7 win over Lake Forest. What do you think of Geneva now as they move into the quarterfinals?
You know, that was a really impressive situation for them last night. I expected them to win that game. It was definitely a situation where, you know, Geneva was the favorite in that game. But the nature in which they dominated that game, I checked in on it early, and Geneva jumped out to an early lead. And then I checked back a few minutes later, and it felt like they had tripled their point total in the span of about 15 minutes. So a really dominant performance for Geneva. Sets up what I think you could probably speak to a little bit more than I could. What is an interesting matchup with Cherry Grove?
Cherry Grove really playing well right now. You know, they somehow win in week one, just kind of blow the doors off. You know, somehow Highland Park never beat the game today. They can beat you on the outside. They can beat you inside. This is a team I really think you can come out at 6A. There's nothing that I've seen through the first 2 weeks of the playoffs that has really changed my feeling about the Trojans.
Yeah, and you know, we were talking about this a little bit earlier in the week, you know, playing it out a little bit. Talking about that Lake Zurich Cleveland game earlier this week. Last I saw, Lake Zurich had a 2-touchdown lead in that game. I don't know if that's changed, but definitely a situation where we're going to have some interesting matchups in 6A North.
Matthew now checking in. Says, hey guys, checking in for the Barrington side. Real good PR line. Hey buddy. Yes, if you are watching live, jump in the comments here. Ask us any questions you want about what's happening in week 2. Michael said, normal community Bradley 7-7 in the first quarter.
Interesting.
Bradley going to win this game?
You know, I don't know if I think they're going to win this game. I do think they're going to be more competitive in this game than a lot of people are giving them credit for heading this week. Normal community kind of wild card. You know, they play in the Big 12. They don't, you know, they don't really have non-teams outside league. So are they a really incredible team that's capable of putting up their T on anybody, or are they a creation of maybe a down year in that conference? And I think it could be either one of those two things.
All right, Zeus, let's go back over. We were talking about our way to the Class 6A here. Let's go to that south side of the bracket where you have Kankakee, who's really struggling with Island Ogden, how 49-35 in that game. They were down at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to some of this game on the radio, and it seemed like Yankees defense, which has been sensational all year long, going all the way back to that Week 1 game against Nazareth where I saw them, where I felt like they were doing an outstanding job in the secondary in particular, playing a lot of man coverage and just doing a really good job with it. But today, they had one receiver from Eisenhower at 4 touchdown receptions in the first half against them. So they gave up almost as many points in the first half tonight than they had all season. Think about that for a minute. So obviously, ended up winning the game 49-35, scored the last, scored 3 touchdowns before Eisenhower was able to equalize after they took that lead into halftime. But that was absolutely not what I expected from that game today. I thought Kankakee would win that game in a walk.
Yeah, I did not expect to see that game come down to the wire as much as it did. Sets up a matchup with East St. Louis, which had a 54-7 win over Normal West. I got to tell you, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle for Kankakee to begin with. After they struggled with Blue Island Eisenhower, I don't have a lot of faith in the K's, I got to say it.
Well, and when you consider on top of it that 54-7 final came on top of a 54-0 halftime score where East St. Louis kind of put the hammer down immediately, showing what they can do. And that's not a bad football team in Normal West. So, the fact that East St. Louis seems to do what they're always doing is once that calendar turns to November, cranking it up, getting ready to go, he's going to be a substantial underdog in my mind.
Matthew Jackson up to the stands. He goes, let's go back to the any thoughts on Cardinals' 57 win over Antioch?
I didn't know what Antioch was coming into the game. And I'm not going to say that this was a disappointing performance from Antioch because I don't really know. But they were scoring a bunch of points, led me to believe that this might be a somewhat competitive game today. I still favor Cardinals to win the game, but the way that they just punished I was following your updates. Thanks a lot for those, Matt, all afternoon long. And it seemed like Cardinal was just scoring at will today. And I did not expect that to play out that it did. I thought Antioch would have at least some answer for Cardinal. They had no answer for it today. Dominant performance from them. And I've said it since the bracket came out. I think that Cardinal team is not getting the respect that it deserves in that draw.
Antioch, we've seen it over the last 4 or 5 years, I would say. Like, really, a lot of success in their conference and struggle. Really, that conference in general, once they got into the playoffs, I really don't know what that kind of cure to get them over the hump. It kind of used to be that way, though, with the mid-suburban East a little bit. You've seen the mid-suburban East kind of take a step forward. It's just kind of a gradual process, right?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those situations where you have to have that breakthrough at some point in time, and then it seems to kind of follow through maybe for some other members of your conference. But right now, that conference is not ready to compete with the blue bloods of those divisions. So a huge win for Cardinal today. They were really, really dominant in that game. And I think they're, like you were mentioning before with Kerry Grove, I think Cardinal's going to be extremely tough.
All right, let's go over to Class 7A. We have a lot of games actually not a lot of games, but several games taking place this evening. We already talked about Normal Bradley Bourbon, a 7-7 tie in that game. A really interesting game. I don't know what's happening between Hershey and Downers Grove North of 4 in the third seed.
Oh, that's interesting.
What's that?
So Hershey was winning that game earlier, but thanks to our good friend Dick Quagliano here, he's letting us know that Downers Grove North has won that game over Hershey. A 24-21 victory for them. So that is definitely a interesting result. I was talking about this game earlier this week with a few people, and while I said I favored Hershey, I think that Downers Grove North team is a little bit sneaky. I was really impressed with what they did with Penwood in the first round. They just kind of handled them and took care of business. A very athletic and talented team. I thought maybe they have an opportunity here. And when you do a bit of a deep dive on
the competition that Hershey has played this season. They've dispatched everybody, but they haven't really seen a team like Downstroke North, and they struggled with it, and obviously fell today. So an interesting win right there for, I believe that's the 13th seed there.
Yes, Naperville does. Yeah. No, a battle healthy now for the Trojans. It'll be a tough hour in the postseason here. Batavia, 45-17 win over Lincoln Way Central. Mount Carmel, 49-15 win over Prospect. I didn't see a final between North and Quincy.
Quincy was running away in the second half of that game.
Really?
It had a pick six. The last I saw, it was 33-14 in favor of Quincy, and that was late. So I'm pretty confident that Quincy won that game.
All right, over into Class 8A. Place I wanted to start with the game last night. Justin Scott, running back. Another touchdown, 26-yard touchdown from Justin Scott. Touchdown against Huntley. Put that game away. You can't stop him, man.
Well, I just would like to know, just from personal experience, not that I would want to experience it, but what the thought process is for the middle linebacker on the opposing defense when you see that guy lining up, preparing to go through the middle of your defense. Obviously, not an ideal situation for a defender that's trying to haul down. I believe he's listed at 350 pounds. Just a mountain of a man, a very talented player wherever he ends up playing for Ohio State. But just a really, really tremendous implementation of using whatever you have to make sure that you stay alive. Won that game over Huntley last night. Now that sets up a big problem for St. Ignatius, and it's a big problem for everybody in the 8A bracket as they're going to draw Loyola. No problem with Eagle Valley today. They were up 33-0 the last I saw. I didn't see a final on it, but I'm fairly confident that that's the way it worked out. So St. Ignatius Loyola in the next round. At least now it's one of those situations where the Catholic League is going to have to go up against each other in the next round. Because today, like you mentioned before, big day for the CCL, the SEC. So it has won almost everything they've done.
Are you surprised with how the margin that Edwardsville beat Glenbard West in the game 14?
Yes. I expected that to be a much closer football game than that. I thought Glenbard West was playing typical Glenbard West defense, and Edwardsville was scoring rapid fire in that game. And when Glenbard West answered, Edwardsville scored almost immediately. I was kind of monitoring that game today just because I was interested to see how Edwardsville was doing this. And if I'm whoever comes out of that game on the other side of the bracket, I'd be pretty concerned about that result because there are two West Suburban teams waiting to feed into Edwardsville. They're playing tonight. York and Lions, and to watch how they just took care of Glenbard West, their conference member, has to be a bit concerning. Whoever wins that game.
Absolutely. So let's see. We got Lincoln Way East win a win today. Ward had a win. Main South with the win. The last game that we got to talk about here, Barrington and Naperville Central. Teams are out here on the field warring up 20 minutes away from kickoff. What do you think is going to happen in this game?
You know, we were talking about it a little before, where Barrington seems to be playing your best football at the time you want to be playing your best football. It's a team that I would classify in the one game that I saw them a little bit lunch bucket football. They just go out, they do their jobs, they all do it very well, a very fundamentally sound defense, and they're not going to make a lot of mistakes. They're just going to say, hey, this is what we are, we're going to do what we do, and your job is to try to stop us, we're not going to give it away. Don't turn the ball over a lot, take care of it. Have some explosive playmakers on offense, but you never know where they're going to come from. They don't lean really heavily on one guy over another, so they can make a lot of plays when they have to. And defensively, they really make you work for it. They may give up some yardage, but as far as giving up points, they're not too fond.
All right, thank you everyone who joined for this edition of Friday Night Live with Friday Night Live. First time ever on Barrington Central getting ready for 8A football. We're going to go ahead and sign off and get ready to watch this game. Thank you once again. For Steve Soucie, I am Tom. Let's stick to FridayNightDrive.com. We'll have complete coverage of the second round coming your way. We'll talk to you guys later.
Come to Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dine in, carry out, and catering available. Located in Rock Falls and Sterling, Illinois, as well as Clinton, Iowa. Come try our original Chicken George today.
Need a roof, vinyl windows, or doors? Call R.E. Duchesne Construction. With an A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau and servicing Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties, call R.E. Duchesne. 815-722-2821. Financing available. Find out more online at reduchene.com.
Are going to come right down to the wire.
Yeah, he really likes this field.
Team of the week MVP.
I like right.
I like right.
Since 2016, it's been my privilege to represent the people of the 63rd District. I want to continue representing you as an independent voice in Springfield.
I like Reich.
We like Reich.
We're here to help you with your problems that result from an automobile accident or an injury on the job or the loss of a loved one. There's no reason you should go through this alone and guess that you're doing things right.
We deal with tragedies that affect families and individuals every day.
Come here and protect your interests. We've been doing this collectively for over 100 years. Let's put that experience to work for you.